DMLearn is our digital mission and 360 platform. More for, I guess it's more for Dockers. I think the rest have the idea. The next page is some of the webinars that are coming up. So, right, when you look at the dates and the topics, if you're interested, you can go back to the form and you can sign up. For those courses that have already conducted, you'll get a video recording, right? So today we are going to talk about DIY Recording Studio Advance. So this is our second course, you know, on this particular subject. So what we're going to do, right, in terms of advance is that we're going to show you what we did with our studio. So actually, Brian is right now in 360 Dunnan Road in our recording studio, right? This is a soundproof room. And we would say that our recording studio is almost like a Mercedes-Benz, BMW. If you're talking about a car, we bought, right, the equipment that reached that range, okay? And we're going to show you shortly, okay? And during this time, we actually opened our studio to pastors and missionaries and church workers to use, right? Because many of the smaller churches, of course, struggle, right, to you know, do a quality recording. So we are going to use DM Studio, right, to show you how to set up. Now, DM Studio, again, it is like, you know, more on the higher end. So you actually can substitute cheaper and lower equipment, but the idea, right, is there. Because the focus today is actually on the software, not so much on the hardware. So we're just going to quickly go through, right, the hardware at DM Studio. So you don't need to try to replicate because it is expensive, right? I mean, we spend almost 20,000 over, right? Everything in and all that. There's too much money, but you don't need to spend that kind of money, okay? As if you attended the first course, our basic already, you can get quite good quality from the basic course. Okay, so don't spend this kind of money, right? This is the list. You know, you can come and use, right, our facility. So that's the whole idea, right? It's expensive, and so we share. But at your own home, right, you can do a pretty good recording also. Okay, so Brian is going to show you, right, he's actually there, some of the equipment. So we actually have a Sony Alpha, right, camera.
Can you see it?
Showing you, yeah, can see it. And this one is like, including the lens, is almost $4,000, right? But again, like I say, you can replace this camera, right, with lower range, you know, like $1,000 or less, right? Or you can replace it with a webcam of decent quality, which is what we call, right, a Logitech C922.
Yeah, this one.
And Brian is showing, and this is like $100 over, right, you know, and it will give you good quality. Now, when we talk about advanced, right, we're talking about ability to stream and record it of certain quality. So you need a video capture device. So Brian will show you, it's basically a USB device, right? Brian, you want to show them if you can?
Which one? Elgato.
USB,
Yes.
Elgato, that one, that box.
Well, we have two versions here. One is this one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's clear.
Yes. So it's basically a dongle, we call it. And you see that one end plugs into the USB port of a desktop computer. The other end is a HDMI cable. So this cable goes to the camera. So from the Sony camera, right, it goes through the cable into the computer. And this USB dongle is what is used to capture. So the big name in this business is Elgato, right? So they have a range, right? The CamLink 4K, right, is pretty expensive. I think it's almost now $400. But there's a lower range, like $200 over. And I recently found, you know, you can buy clothes in China for about $50, $60. all right, this same device, you know, and I found the quality is okay, right, kind of thing. So you can always substitute for lesser brands and won't have too bad a quality, put it this way. Then the mic, right, we talk about in the basic, right, you need a condenser mic, but the kind of the higher end mics is a Blue Yeti, which is what Brian is showing now. It's a brand called Blue Yeti, and it has certain features that make recording your audio very clearly. You can adjust, right, the mic for interview. So if you have two person with you or few people with you, you can adjust the profile on this particular mic. But the audio would be very clear. Next, you need a high-end laptop or desktop, right, which we bought a gaming machine. So this gaming machine is quiet, right? The fan is quiet, and it has all the bells and whistles, right? We built it, or we bought it last year, end of last year, so it's still fairly high-end. So it's a gaming machine. So you almost need a gaming machine spec, right? For what we call an advanced setup. A lot of it is because when you do the recording, you need to edit, right? And later, right, Brian will show how you live stream and do a simple recording. In future, we have another course called video editing. So after you capture a reasonably good video, right, how do you edit it, right? How do you cut and splice? How do you put text into your video, right? So those will be taught in another class. So in in our studio, we have two screens, 27-inch screen. See, we have two. And the advantage, right, of why you have two screens, because one screen, right, you can, later Brian will show you more clearly, but one screen, you know, you can have like your PowerPoint, right? Another screen, you actually see yourself, right? You know, and people don't really see your PowerPoint, right? So you can be like reading your PowerPoint without people seeing your PowerPoint, right? Put it this way. So that's the advantage of two screen. You'll find that the Elgato light is above the two screen, right? These lights are, again, right, the higher end of lighting. You can adjust, you know, many shades, right, from white to orange, right? It is to fit your facial skin tone color, and you can adjust the brightness. You know, it's all through an app that you can do it. And we use two. We actually have three. We have one in the back for, you know, background in case there's a shadow. But we found that two is sufficient. Again, right, like I say, this lighting is more on the higher end, right? When we did the first course, we show you the lower end lightings you can buy, right, from AliExpress or even Lazada. They call it ring lights, right? They have less features, but they will do the job. They are like $50, okay? And if you want to know how to buy them, you can always email us. Then we have the green screen right at the back. So our church sister, she actually helped us, right, put up the green screen. You can buy basically, you know, this green screen cloth from Lazada or something. It's like $20. And then you just hang it up the best you can, right? Even with clips. The idea is just to have a consistent, strong background. Green is the best because for future, when you have a green background, you can replace your green background with anything, right? In the post, we call it post editing, right, of your recording. You can put logo, you can put anything you want to replace the green background. Also for virtual screen, if you want real time to change your background, a green background would make it easier to replace, right, with any virtual screen. Then, of course, Stream Deck, Elgato Stream Deck. It is a device that you can program. So there's like 15 keys on it. It will light up. If you program one of the buttons, it will light up. And you can program the button so that when you are one person, right, doing your webinar or something, you can press the button to call out a PowerPoint, to turn on a certain lighting. All this can be programmed, right, with the kind of lights that we have installed, right? Then it's possible, right, to program. That's why it's all one brand name, like Elgato. And Brian can show you a bit more, because when you do live streaming, you want to sometimes bring in certain scene, certain worship songs, and all that can be automated and programmed right onto the button. Okay, and obviously, right, DM Studio is a soundproof room, not 100% soundproof, but very quiet. Again, right, I mean, most of you at home probably struggle with that. But again, right, we are showing you more on the higher end range, what you need for a recording studio. And that's why it gets pretty expensive, right? Like I say, we spend at least 20,000 on this room. Okay, the thing, so these are the hardware, right, at the high end. If you want to have one, this is like, what you can aspire. But like we say, you can replace many of these things with much lower cost devices, right, for home use. And you'll find that, you get a pretty good quality, okay? So now what we're going to turn the attention to is the software, right, that's needed to do live streaming or recording, okay? And we're going to show you this software called OBS, and it's free, and we love free software, and it's a very powerful software actually. So I'll let Brian take over. Brian.
Okay. So let me share my screen. So let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so OBS, as ST mentioned, is a free and open source software for video recording and live streaming. So if you've watched YouTube videos wherein they show tutorials how to use, for example, software, Excel, for example, PowerPoint, where they capture the screen, right? And then you talk and then capture all the movements. This is one software to do that recording. Another way is if you've been watching live stream of church congregations, right? GLCC does that. They use this as well. So this is actually, yeah, I only knew about this software maybe over a year and a half back. And when I tried to install it initially, it didn't make sense. Everything was blank in the beginning. I don't have any idea how to use it. So maybe this is an opportunity to kind of just to avoid the confusion that I experienced during that time. So some basic concepts, because when you start using OBS, maybe after this demo, you can research, find other tutorials over the internet. You will always hear the terms scenes and sources. Scenes, yeah. So what is a scene? So assuming, let's say you're watching a program, sometimes they have a layout wherein the picture is full screen and then just with a logo in there. But then at different times, right, you will see a different layout wherein they'll probably share a screen, and then the picture will just be a small part of the video, the video of the person. It will just be a small section of the screen, right? So that's what you call a scene. It would be a different layout for different scenarios that you're interested in. So a scene will be composed of different sources. So what are those sources? It can be video. It could be a display. It could be audio. You can even, as I mentioned earlier, you can even use or capture the display within your, being displayed in your PC. So we'll go through that. So I mean, just that's because most of the remaining time that we'll be spending today will be more on demo. So as Essie mentioned, it's free. You can download it from obsproject.com. I suggest you download it from this page. I tried download it from another page and then I found out it was a virus. So just be careful to download it from this official site. And it will run on the 3 major platforms, right? Whether at home, I'm using Linux. Some people are using it successfully in Mac OS. And here in the studio, we're using Windows, right? So it works consistently. There's some few features that might be missing here and there, but by and large, majority should be consistent across all 3 platforms. So let's get started. Let's share my screen. Where's my screen? Okay. So once you open OBS, you will be shown this blank screen, which is actually, yeah, this is what I became confused initially. How should I start with this application, right? So I did mention to you earlier, there will be scenes which will be made up of different sources. So very first thing that we need, maybe a simple one, would be how I have a webcam right now. I want to show my webcam to display it here. So by default, you'll be having one scene there by default. You can rename it if you want. You can add more later once you have come up with different ideas how you want to lay out your screen. But then starting with this blank screen, this, you can, once it's selected, you can click on this plus icon here. Can you see the plus icon? The add. So once you click here, these are the available sources that you can add. So I mentioned earlier audio input. So that would be microphones that you have in your machine. Audio output is actually interesting. You can get the output of your speaker and then use it as an input. So how would it be interesting? If I'm using it at home for doing karaoke recording. So in YouTube, right, they have sometimes instrumental music, right? So while playing that, I have an audio input and an audio output sources. And then while singing, I just sing along and then record it. So that's one interesting thing. So you can, I mean, once you're familiar how to use it, you can actually come up with different ways to use this software. You can also take the contents of a browser and you think, how would it be useful? You can connect it to your Facebook, and sometimes, right, if you've seen some YouTube videos, you can see that they have all the chat comments being showed beside. It's actually, I don't have time to discuss it, but this is something that you can investigate further. These are actually interesting if you want to show the comments, the chats inside your live stream. One thing. Caller source is, it's just like you just want to put in a background, the plain background. It's not really, I mean, you use it sometimes just to pick, right now it's black, right? You want to put in a background of a different color. You can use that. Display capture. Right now, I mentioned earlier, we can capture the contents of a display. So right now, we can quickly show it. Right now, you can see we have 2 monitors, right? So we have the ability to capture the display in one monitor. So you can see it here. Let's delete it for now. We'll go back to this later. What else? Game capture. So a lot of people are using it. A lot of people are doing a demo of their games, right, in YouTube. So that's one thing. Image, you can display a static image, a slideshow, if you put in a set of different images. Media source. What you can do, and you've probably seen it in a lot of situations where you might not even be aware, you can pre-record pre-record videos, but then you want it to appear like it's live stream. So you can record it first as a video file, and then later on, I'll show you how to do the live streaming. So from the audience view, right, it looks like it's actually live streaming because it shows live stream in Facebook or YouTube, but then it's actually a pre-recorded video. So that's one thing. Oh, you can add a scene over scene. Yeah, I haven't used it, but yeah, it looks like it's possible to do that. Text, if you want to put in static text or even moving, it has an option to move, create moving text. VLC Video Source. This is interesting. You might not want to do it within one PC, but then it's possible that you'll be playing a VLC video in another PC and then play it here. So it can take in a remote video and then show it here. That's possible. Video capture device is just camera. It's just a camera of that we have in this PC. So if you take a look, we have this many cameras that we have right now. And last but not the least is window capture. Sometimes, right, you only want to get the output of one particular window within your display. Earlier, it was the full screen, right? But sometimes you just want to capture it a certain portion. So you can either, within the display capture, you can either crop it, or the good thing here is that only the display of a particular application will be captured. So this one, I will use it later if we have time to discuss how, if you only have one display, but you want to be able to display your slideshow, but also at the same time be able to control OBS. And assuming you don't have a Stream Deck. So we'll show you how to do that later. So let's go and create our first scene. So let's start from 0, right? So let's say I want to capture in the screen that I'm planning or to record or do live stream, I want to capture first the camera output. So go to video capture device. You can rename it. Let's say, I'm planning to use the Sony. So just make it more descriptive. And the Sony is connected to the Camlink 4K. So right now, if I put it there, my face is cut off. And the reason for that is the A7 is recording or outputting in 4K. By default, OBS is only having a size, and it's changed. You can modify it later here. But I don't think any platform at the moment supports 4K streaming. So how would we do it? In this case, just right click. You can actually do it like this, crop it like that, just this window. But an easier way would be just right click, transform, fit to screen, and it will just be like that. So now we have this screen. Now, let's say you for I would have to say branding purpose, you want to put in something, a logo. I think I downloaded a logo. So this time I want to put in an image. So maybe, again, just make it descriptive. And just like that, again, you can resize it. Right. Now, we have a picture. Now, if you take a look, right, in this scene, you can see something is moving. The Sony A7 audio. Now, I don't want to use the audio of the Sony. because we already have this Blue Yeti, right? I don't want to use the audio for the within built-in in the Alpha A7. So what I'll do, I'll disable it. You can just click on this. So I've now disabled the A7 microphone, and then I'll add an audio input. And then here, let's say I can do Yeti. And where's the Blue Yeti? Oh yeah, this one. Yeti stereo microphone. So now you can see it's moving. So you can adjust the volume, right? I mean, those kind of things here. So now, very basic, we have a video, the camera being captured, we have an image, and we're also capturing, we start recording from the built-in microphone of the A7, and instead capturing from the microphone that if you have a separate one, if you don't have, then you can just use the built-in one from your webcam. But if you have a separate one which has higher quality, then use that one. So from this stage, you can actually start it. It's not recording, it's not doing anything yet. It's not streaming, it's not recording yet. We can now, what I do before, you can actually start recording now. And that's what I do before I do live stream. I want to record a few minutes of my clip, check the volume, check maybe the quality of the video. And then once it looks good, then I'll go live. So to record, it's just a simple start recording here. So let's do that. And then we'll take a look at the output. So let's try recording. Yes, hello, good afternoon. This is a test of the OBS software. And then once you're done, just click on stop recording. So you'll be asking, okay, where can I find the video? The video by default will be under the videos folder. So if we take a look here, oh, someone, a few. Yes, hello, good afternoon. This is a test of the OBS software. So it's there. You can see. Once you're done, just click on stop recording. So it's there. We're able to capture the audio. We have the logo. And the camera is there as well. Now, one thing, and you'll notice is that the file format is MKV. It is not as well known as MP4, MOV, or AVI. The reason that OBS actually defaults to this format is that in case your computer crashes, it's able to retain the data up to the point just before it crashed. So that means you'll be able to recover whatever you've recorded just before it crashed, right? Now, having said that, right, I've used OBS a lot of times. I haven't experienced any crash yet. So you have an option. If you want to edit this one, you have to do a conversion first. Most of the popular video editors doesn't recognize MKV by default. So what some people do, if they want to retain MKV, retain using MKV and have the advantage of being able to recover in case of a crash, they will download a video converter. The most popular one would be Handbrake. I think, yeah. But I want to avoid the extra hassle of conversion. So I suggest, if you want to change the default to something that's in a format that is easily editable, I suggest that we change the default. So go to settings. Go to settings here. Go to output. And then you can change the recording format. And they have MP4. I mean, I just prefer MP4. It's just the easiest to edit. Now, there's a warning, right? Which I mentioned. If there's a power loss, a blue screen of death, and so on, you'll not be able to recover. But, I mean, we understand and we're taking that risk. So let's apply. Let's try to record once again. Hello, this is a test. We're recording now in MP4. And then let's stop again. We should see an MP4 now. So it's now MP4. So we can see it's the same. Hello, this is a test. We're recording now in MP4. And then let's stop again. So now, recording is good. Now let's try to do streaming. Let's try to do streaming. So in streaming, I think the most popular right now is Facebook. So let's try to do a test Facebook stream. So for that, I have my Facebook account open. Once you have your account open, right, just click on this icon, the 3 dots, and then click on live video. Okay. Now, if you manage different pages, right, this is the time that you want to kind of check which page, either your timeline, your personal timeline, Facebook timeline, or a page that you manage. So I think I have 2 pages that I manage. So right now, just one. Okay, I shouldn't, maybe as a test on my timeline for now, but just make sure that you select the right page, either your timeline or a page that you manage. But then, anyway, I want to test. So you can select the privacy. Right now, friends or only me right now, maybe just as a test. Put in a title for your live video. Test live. And then a tag for that. It's not a gaming, so test demo. And then, and this is where actually is important. By default, it will use and try to go live with your built-in camera. What we want to select is the use a stream key. And then we need to copy this stream key. Copy. And now we go back, switch back to OBS. Go back to settings. And in the stream section, you have different platforms that you can do, the popular platforms that you can do streaming, right? Since we're doing Facebook Live, click on Facebook Live. And this is where you paste in the key that we have copied earlier from Facebook. Yeah, just copy. So now, let's try to do streaming. So just click on the start streaming. And if there's no problem, it shouldn't show you any errors at all. Now, if that's the case, let's switch back to Facebook. You can see in Facebook, there's now my small screen there. That means it's receiving video from OBS. We haven't gone live officially. it just shows that the connection is working and we are now ready to go live. Okay, so once you're ready to go live, just click on this, but you'll not be able to see it. It's only restricted to my to myself, this video right now. But once you're ready to go live, just click on this, and all people who are permissioned to see that particular, whether you've made it public or only to a certain set of friends, they'll be able to start seeing that stream. So I mean, I can do that right now, but no one else can see it. But let's take a look. So it's now live, you can see. And yeah, you can then now do, if after this, I'll show you how to do creating new scenes and then how to switch between those different scenes that you have. So let's end for now. You can end here, or you can stop streaming here as well. So you have those two options. So let's start here. You should see it should stop as well. So it's connected and it's in sync. So I think we've gone through recording and streaming. One thing that you might be asking, can we start streaming and do recording at the same time? And the answer is yes. If you have a good enough PC, you're on SSD, you have a good CPU and all, then yes, you can do it both. So you might want to do it, you do testing whether your PC is able to handle it. But yes, assuming your PC has the hardware capabilities to handle both, then yes, it has that. OBS has that functionality. So let's see. Let's create another scene. Let's see. Now we only have one scene, right? Let's create another scene. Maybe I want to display the slideshow. So it's now the live show is now on the, let's just put it here, minimize. I want to add a new one. Let's say PowerPoint. So now again, it's blank. We'll start from scratch. So I want to capture the display from the second monitor where PowerPoint is being projected. So now it's there. And then I also want it to be able to also capture the audio. Now, if you're adding the same source, right? In this case, that's the case, right? I want it to be able to project my voice. Just you can add the existing one that we created earlier. And then maybe I want to put in a small picture of myself talking. So with video capture device again, and add the one that we had created earlier. Now it's again small. So I think you've seen videos kind of having this format, right? And yes, we have two scenes now. So you can switch between these two whenever you like. And this is where I want to show, and again, it depends on the person using OBS. Right now, the moment that you click on the scene, it will switch automatically, meaning if you're live or recording, it will switch to that scene automatically. Sometimes, right, you want to have a preview of how it would look like in that layout first before you go live. Fortunately, we have that capability in OBS. So they have this mode called Studio Mode. So if you click on that, you will see a preview, and then this is the program, and this is the live, the one that's getting recorded or the one that's getting live streamed. So you have the option, okay, to see, okay, I want to see how it looks like first, and then only when you're okay, then you transition. I prefer this mode. Some people prefer the standard mode, wherein the moment that they, especially if you're familiar with all your scenes, right? Then it's easier to just switch back and forth here. But then I kind of want to see a preview first and then transition. So again, we can try to record. So now we're showing the PowerPoint, and I want to transition to the camera. And switching back and forth. Stop recording. I wonder what happened to the camera. It stopped. Can you still hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I don't know. My video earlier was cut off. But anyway, now we have that video where we have two scenes. Where we're able to switch from. Now we're showing the PowerPoint, and I want to transition to the camera. And switching back and forth. Now, you might be asking, this works if I have two monitors. What if at home, I don't have two monitors? I think a lot of you might be asking. It is possible. It's extra hassle, but it is possible. So the way, because I was asking the same question last time. I don't have two monitors at home, but I wanted to. So you have to do a few things. In PowerPoint, you have to set up this setup slideshow. And instead of full screen, you want to be browsed by an individual window. This is actually, and then from there, try to do, this will instead just show it as a small window, right? And within OBS, go back to PowerPoint. Instead of a display capture, let's remove, because let's simulate we only have one screen. We will then be able to use this window capture that I was telling earlier. So PowerPoint. Oh, did I create? It's PowerPoint display. Yeah, the scene is already named PowerPoint. And try to find out this one. So you have the same one that's being displayed. So the only thing here, right, is since you'll be doing the switching of the screen and also probably the switching of the pages, the slides here, right?
Oh.
There's an extra hassle of you switching back and forth. And then you have to go back here, and that's where the Elgato Stream Deck comes into picture. This is the most convenient because you can program it to do a lot of things. Each button, there's a physical, I don't know if you can, yeah, we've seen it, right? There's a physical button and there's a small display there. You can configure it to do basically a lot of things. Switch screen, even do a Twitter. All these are Streamlabs, switch to a particular scene. I think for PowerPoint, there's also, I think there's something here. But at the very least, right, you want to put in PowerPoint as your main, the focus is in PowerPoint, but then depending on you want to switch from one scene to another, you can just use Stream Deck. And that's the power of this, the convenience of this tool is. It's a bit expensive as SC mentioned, but it is actually very, very convenient. Now, there are options out there, some options that, again, not as convenient. There's an Android software where it kind of simulates a Stream Deck. You can try it, I mean, but it's not as, I would have to say, as foolproof and convenient as the Elgato one. Physical one is definitely much convenient to use. What else? I think I might have gone through the main ones. Oh, before we, maybe while trying to think what else we can do, any questions from your side? Green screen, before I forget, you'll be asking, I have a green screen, I want to change it to something else, right? So, go back here. I don't know why my camera has stopped. Hold on, okay. Let me turn on and off.
Which camera is stopping? You're talking about the alpha?
Yeah, the alpha. Yeah, it's moving again. I don't know what happened. So now if you want to put in, let's say, a green, yeah, right now, it's just a green screen. And as Esty mentioned, we have two options. Either you do the background removal now while recording, or you can do it later using whatever video editor that you want. You have an option. The only thing is the background replacement of OBS might not be as clean as the one as Premiere provides. It's able to, sometimes it's not able to detect the edges properly. But it's up to you. But if you want to do it in OBS, you can do that, especially if live streaming, you don't have an option, right? So if you want to do background replacement in OBS, right click, filters here. I think it should be, sorry, if instead I should be in this one. Color key. Green is, what should I replace it with? That's the thing. Green should work. Hold on, okay. Just try the other one. Sorry, I was selecting the wrong one. It should be chroma key. So you can see it's now detecting the green as it's replacing it as a transparent one. So you can put in, now it's showing us a black one, right? So now I have an option of maybe, what should I put it here? I don't have right now a background that I can select.
The 360 logo?
Yeah. So just make, if you want it the background, right, you have to make sure, because it's the ordering, just make it at the end of the list. If I put it here, it will be in the foreground and replace my face, right?
Oh, I see.
So just make sure the ordering here is actually important. So now I have, so you can replace it with anything, a background of a place that you like, a logo of your organization, a picture of, yeah, anything. So you can do that. So two options for you. You can do this in OBS. I mean, if you're live streaming, then OBS might be your only option, right? But then if you're planning to do recording first and edit the video later, you have those options to add the background or to do the background replacement later. So I think that would be the basic. Again, from here, there's a lot of other features that you can do. Maybe if you want, you might be asking, what if you want to do some basic, add some basic text? We can go add it here, text, and then hi there. So you can do that. What if you wanted, another feature that I used before is that I added in some scrolling. So this is for each of the source that you do add, right? The options that are available will be at the filters or properties. The same, whether it's a camera, an audio, and so on and so forth, right? An image. All the options that you can do is normally in these filters. What if I want to do some scrolling? You can do some scrolling like that. However,
what about subtitle?
Title would be, yes. This would be the basic text. If you want to do title, it's normally created outside of OBS. And it's created in dedicated image creation tools, either Paint Shop, or maybe if you're doing 3D, any of the Blender and those.
No,
So,
what I mean is, sorry, the subtitling. Because many of the video recording is, if it's in English,
yes.
I might have to have Chinese subtext to go with it.
Yes, that's something I know it's supported, but I haven't tried it. I know it's supported in there is support for VST, which is the subtitling. I might have to get back to you on that one. I know it's supported here, but let me take a note of that one. I'll get back, but it's possible. It's possible to do subtitling, and it should be easy as well to do it. But I haven't tried it myself, but I know it's supported here in OBS. Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't tried it myself.
Dorcas, are you talking about live subtitling, captioning, or recording? After you record.
Both. Actually, both, because I am recording and sending to China, and I'm also doing live streaming into China.
Okay.
Live might be difficult, but I'll have to do investigation on that one. I'll get back. We'll get back to you. SC and I will get back, investigate what's the most convenient way to do it. Because someone, if ever it has to be done, someone has to be typing. I know how someone has to be typing it, whatever that person is saying, right? If it's live. If it's pre-recorded, we can easily add in the text. That's why I think SC is asking whether it's live or pre-recorded. If it's pre-recorded, it's easy. We can just add in. The problem with live is, how do we know what is the translation of what that person is saying? Someone or something. I mean, we don't have the AI right now to do that, but someone normally does it. And typing it, what I've seen is that someone is typing it in another PC, and then we put in a Vlc video source, and then put it as an overlay here. So it's more difficult for live. For pre-recorded, it's easy.
I've seen on YouTube some of the, like for example, the TED presentation or some of the teaching presentation. They use an AI to do a script to text display.
Yes.
Google
actually has
trying
it.
to get my hand on that, so then I don't have, I can solve all the translation problem.
Google has that capability, right?
Mm.
And I think we can take advantage of this browser.
Oh, okay.
That's something we need to follow up. But I think that's a very interesting question, because
Yeah.
especially now that we're reaching to different people, groups of people, right? We'll get back to you. I don't have the answer right now. I know it's possible, but we haven't tried it. I haven't tried it myself. But yeah, we'll get back on that one.
The challenge, right, Dorcas, is that a lot of our Christian terminology, right, is not very accurate yet. But the more we use, the more all of us Christians use Google Translate or Microsoft translation, then it becomes more and more accurate, right? And also our voice, you know, they need to pick out our accent. So unfortunately, Christian world is way far behind, right? The database, I mean, we're all playing catch up, and that's why we do what we're doing here, right? Trying to help all of y'all, put content, parenting, whatever, right, out there as fast as we can. And the more we use, right, the more accurate it's going to become. So it's really all of us, right, Christians, we need to upload as many good content as we can quickly do. And therefore, all these translation tools, right, will be getting more and more accurate. Then they will also recognize, right, Google, because they will analyze, right, analytics and everything. They say, wow, you know, all these Christian words and Christian stuff is becoming very, very, flooding the market, so to speak. We better go and pay attention, you know what I mean? Make it more accurate, rank it higher, right? When people Google, it will appear, you know, our teaching or our materials, right, would start making up the list. So we really have a lot of catch up to do, and our job, right, is to help all of us, right, put as much good content as possible. There's too many horrible contents out there. Yeah. So let's help one another, right, to do better. And then we have lots of wonderful content in multiple languages, right? That's very accurate. So we will investigate, right, how we can help you do some of these translation. I mean, do you script, right? I mean, some of your parenting stuff should be quite scripted, right?
Dorcas, you're on mute, yeah.
Usually when I'm doing teaching, I will use PowerPoint and I teach off the PowerPoint. So it's largely not scripted and very Holy Spirit inspired.
So hopefully, I mean, sometimes what I've seen done, if you have a very good translator who have been journeying with you, they can pick your cues, even though you are doing it off the cuff. They kind of do it enough with you that, you know, they can keep up, right? Because I find that translation normally is also summarizing almost, right? You know, you don't want to do necessary word for word, right? Kind of stuff. So yeah, it's something we need to investigate and get back to you. But it's a good challenge, you know, because I'm sure other speakers or other teachers or trainers face the same problem, right? We want to go to different languages. Yeah. Okay.
So maybe a few, because I've actually helped a few people before with live streaming. Maybe I'll just share some of the problems that they encountered and how we solve or try to remediate it. One thing is, what if you don't have yet your own dedicated microphone, a good microphone with noise reduction and all? You're using just the built-in microphone of your laptop. It's possible. And the problem is by default, right? Especially if you have one of those older laptops, you can hear the motor, the motor, right? And that causes, that is very annoying. It kind of ruins the experience. So what you can do, OBS has some built-in noise suppression available. So let's say, I mean, Blue Yeti is very good already. That's very good. But assuming we experience some kind of noise in Blue Yeti, again, with any source, you can right-click, filters, and in the audio filters, you can see noise suppression. So you can use this one. And you don't want to be too high. I think this actually is already quite high. I suggest you start around this much, -4, and then start going backwards until you hear. Because the moment your voice becomes robotic, there's always a downside with doing any kind of noise reduction. It removes some of the depth of your voice. So as much as possible, you want to keep it at a minimal level. So you start, I normally start with around between 5 to 10, and then just go down until it reaches an acceptable level. It's not magic. There will be downside with doing noise reduction, but if you don't have any other choice, this is one thing that you can do. Now, Esty also was mentioning you have this Crisp application, right? That's also one thing that you suggested as well.
So Crisp, but it's a paid software, right? So you have to pay to have this Crisp software, and what you'll see is after you install, right, besides every microphone, you know, Blue Yeti or your built-in microphone, it has the word bracket Crisp, right, on it. So you can choose that. If you choose that, then it also provide you profiles to use. But it's quite, I think it's better than the OBS free noise reduction. Because I have a friend who teach accounting online, right, from his room, and he lives near the Air Force base, you know, in Paya Lebar. And every time, you know, they go for training, the fighter planes give a lot of very loud, annoying noise. But he has to teach, you know, at those times. So he found that Crisp actually removed, right, all those very harsh aircraft, noises, and make it, acceptable, right, for his teaching. So that's another software to use, but it's a paid software. I normally wait for, you know, there's a deal. All this software nowadays, you wait for, it's called AppSumo. So AppSumo is AppSumo. It's all the software that are not made by major software suppliers, you know, like Microsoft or whatever. They are normally Eastern European small firms, and they go and, you know, create niche software like Crisp, you know, for noise reduction. They have quite a few other software, and they tend to be very affordable. And if you wait for, you know, a special sale, you pay one time and you have it for life, right? So I managed to buy a couple of that software before our studio. So if you come to our studio and use, you'll find that Crisp is one of the options, right? You can enable. So again, share, right? You know, since it's a paid stuff, we would always try to share it with missional, God's missional community. Yeah. Any
other questions?
So my question to you, Brian, is, you know, we nowadays use quite a lot of Zoom, right? And Zoom has, I mean, it doesn't have noise reduction for sure, but it has this background thing. I found that, you know, when you're demoing the background, OBS actually background has a lot more options, you know?
Yes, you can kind of change how the edging. Yeah. So it has more, and that's actually one thing. If we install an application on, we call it NDI tools, we can actually make Zoom. I don't know if it's here right now. Yeah, it's not here, but for the if you're, we have this tool called NDI tools. I have it on my
it allows you to use NDI output as the video camera in Zoom. It's possible. So you can have, it's something I've used at home as well. So they call it NDI tools. It's free. And then one of the things here is that this virtual input. So what it does is that it allows you to use that screen that you've rendered or you've laid out in OBS, and then use that. You'll be able to see in Zoom. Where is Zoom? Okay. Another camera available here. It will show us NDI tools. Of course, again, using it will be an additional burden on your CPU. It will be doing a lot more. So you need, again, this requires a better PC, but it's possible. There's a lot of different plugins because OBS is open source, right? If you browse their plugins available, you'll see a lot of different things. But the basic ones that we've discussed today should be available by default. So once you've maybe mastered this one, if you have some idea, maybe you've seen in some particular YouTube channel, then that's something that if you ask, you can ask, drop SC those questions. We can take a look how they're able to accomplish it, and then yeah, we'll be able to tell you how we can do that. One thing as well, right? If you've seen in YouTube, there's animated videos here on top overlaid. That one you can use Premiere. You create even DaVinci. So you basically create a video which has a background, and then just put it on top. So, but then that's a separate, I think, a topic for later. But it's really just a video being put on top of your OBS rendering. Anything else? Another question normally is, I don't have, most people say, I don't have a good camera. My laptop camera is so bad. Can we use the mobile picture? I mean, mobile camera and in OBS? The answer is yes, it's possible. It is possible to use. There are multiple ways to do it. It is the best quality we've seen is that if you use an iPhone. An iPhone 1 or any of the recent flagship phones. It is possible. Now, if you're using Apple, I think they have this free software called NDI camera, which you can download and then use. You also need the NDI plug in here to be able to use that. But in Android world, there used to be that same application, but it was quite buggy. They pulled it out. Fortunately, there's actually a lot of different options in Android world, actually far more open source. I'm using personally before, the name is Cam on Live Streaming. We can actually do a demo right now. Media source. Oh. It looks like my
It looks like I'm connected to a different subnet, SC. I don't have direct access my phone to this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the
maybe
same.
for security purpose, right? Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not connected, but it is possible. The only important thing is that you have to be in the same network. You have to be in the same network, and I suggest you have a very good signal, 5G signal, 5 gigahertz, right? If you use 2.4, I see that the delay is a bit bad. So that's one thing. If you're thinking of that option, yeah, you can drop us maybe SC an email, and then we'll give you more details on that one. But again, to get the best experience, less of a headache, a dedicated camera is definitely the best. If this would be just a sorry.
What if you hardwire the phone to the computer?
It's not well. There's an application called Droid Cam. It is not as easy as you connecting it, because it will just detect it as a media source, as SD drive, right?
Oh.
It doesn't recognize it as a camera.
Oh.
It can, but then most manufacturers are actually probably not doing it, because it will also hurt the sales of if they also have a camera brand, right? It is possible if they enabled it. Unfortunately, most of them doesn't have that enabled. So by default, you'll see it just as a SD drive. So you'll have to use that Droid Cam. I haven't tried it myself, but some people say that it's a hit or miss. Some say that it's useless, works almost none of the time, but then some say that they're able to use it. So your mileage might vary, but I suggest, again, for the best experience, less headache, even a low-end webcam would be good. Even a DSLR, right? I think right now, even a Panasonic or a Sony one, even an older version, even 3-4 years ago, should be still very good. Much better than any of the available webcams right now. So as long as you have the Elgato, as Steve mentioned, 200, right? And then the camera itself, I don't know the cheapest one right now. SC for the mirrorless, 500. Is there 500 these days?
Well, I think you got to spend about $1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either a Sony or Panasonic. The 3-4 years old, like the Alpha 6400, they're about, I think, 1,000 Sing. So those would be fine. But the key is the capture card, right? I think most of you have some probably okay camera at home. So you do need to get the capture card. Like I said, you don't need to get the Elgato, right? They are getting more expensive. I mean, prior to COVID, I bought it, right, for our studio for $100 over, right? When I checked just now, it was almost $300. So it's like triple in price, right? Because everyone, is buying, right, that device. But if you go to AliExpress, right, you can find similar, right, clone. I wouldn't say they are clone, they just have similar features for less, right? Like say $50, $70, you should still be able to get, but it's not a branded device. But I think it's fine. I've been using it and I find it quite satisfactory. Yeah.
And does it support 720 and 820, 720p resolution?
Yes, it does. It goes up.
And that should be very good then.
Yeah, it does. It just doesn't support 4K. So Elgato goes all the way to 4K, right? But I mean, I wouldn't advise any of us to use 4K for what we are trying to do, because 4K, right? It means you really have to make up, right? I mean, your camera must capture 4K, and you really, right, got to put quite a fair bit of makeup, because 4K sees everything. So so it's not good, I think. I mean, unless you are doing you know, Avatar movie or Star Wars, right? I mean, for what we are doing for teaching, yeah, don't go 4K. I mean, you know, yeah.
So any
Final question?
John, from the screen, right? Is it possible, as a presenter, you also plug in one of the video just behind you? Is it possible? A pre-recorded video, let's say news.
Yes, it's possible.
Sharing a testimony.
So,
is it possible? Just like behind, right side, left side, so you can
possible.
play
So
it.
let's do that. So right now, I have a media source. Important thing is media source. Local file. By default, it's a local file. Specify in any, select any. We recorded one earlier, right? This one. Where is it? Let me just try to. Let me just create. I don't know what happened here. Just give me a second.
So Alan, you right, OBS is very versatile, right? You can put video, you can put a YouTube, you could right, whatever can be displayed on a computer, right? You could type it behind you.
So it's like you put it in background, then you drag it in, and you will show it, and then you drag it out, fade it out
Create
as
a
well.
scene, and then you kind of put the scene behind you.
Is OBS free, or you got to subscribe like Zoom?
No, free. It is
Oh, wow.
our open software, and you know, a lot of people contributed to it. I mean, it's quite amazing. I mean, I've never seen you know, a free open software done very well. I mean, this is one of the examples.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. I think they are, if you download, I think there's some link, you know, they ask for donation now, you know, like $2, $3, whatever. Some people give, some people don't, but, you know, I mean, it's quite amazing what these guys are doing. We actually use it gospel-like, right? We use OBS for streaming.
So yeah, I don't know if you can see my screen. So I'm able to put in OBS. I specified an MP4, and when I transition to that, it will start playing. So you can see it's playing in the background. So yeah, it's possible. So that's I think I did mention earlier. This is how people kind of pre-record their stuff, and then they live stream it, and it will kind of look like it's live, but it's actually not. It's all pre-recorded.
But is it possible to show side by side? That means with you in the presenter,
yes,
they show you behind you. Yeah, then we can like talk.
So I created this media source.
Yeah, like canvas. Yeah.
And then another video cut. This is me here. Okay, it's too big. I think you're planning to kind of have a screen being displayed, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again.
A loop, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like newscasting.
So it is.
Weather.
So you can start putting in different components.
Well, that's cool, huh? Very nice.
It can be a one-man show, whatever, right? You know, earlier on we talked about subtitling and all that, and so it's very interesting, right? Open a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, very professional. Very good.
I did mention about karaoke earlier, right? So I wonder if
You guys sing My Way for us.
So you can do it. You can get the output of the machine, and then together with your microphone, you can record it. So in YouTube, right, you have a lot of different instrumental. YouTube.com. Let's say.
Wow, cool.
Instrumental. So while it's playing, so we want it to have let's say let's create a karaoke. So I want to capture the output of my desktop, right? Of this desktop, and then record from the Blue Yeti, and maybe also capture the video. Again, we have to be careful about copyright, right? We just can, and then later on live stream it with, but assuming for testing purpose, get the video capture from an existing, from the YouTube, Chrome. We have so many. So you can see the output is moving, and then I can start.
I can't say it's still black though. Black screen. I didn't see the YouTube playing.
Probably the properties of your background, right? We can't hear you.
Oh, that's very nice. It's a nice canvas can use.
You could, you know, put whatever. Actually, the real background is green, right, behind. But with OBS, you could filter black, any shades. Quite amazing. Yeah. But you do need, I mean, when you're talking about playing video at the same time streaming, you do need a decent machine, right? If not, yeah, it's a bit frustrating. It's either slow or it hangs. So that's why we invested in our gaming machine, right, at DM Studio.
You need a strong graphic card. Oh, cool. Well done.
So we can't hear you, Brian. But I think we see the point, right? I mean, there's plenty we can do. So I think we can conclude. So if y'all have more questions, right, we'll post the video. You can review. If you have more questions, right, you email, right, info@digital, mission .com360.com. So then we will respond. I know that we have some questions we need to get back to Docker regarding translation of different languages and captioning, right? So we will go and investigate and get back, because we know that OBS does subtitling and all that. It's just how do we help you to do it more effectively, hopefully automate it, right, with some of the Google Translate components into it. Brian, are you back? We can't hear you still. We lost your mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're back.
Okay.
Finally. So we are Brian, we have, I think we can conclude, right? And then let people respond. So after this, right, we have this, what we say is that we'll try to help people practically to go and do your own recording and you know, do this installation, right? But it will take some time, right? Because we have a few people who have requested for it. So we will approach you all, those who have said that they need help, right, to set up. And then we'll find a time and try to do it remotely. Now, all of our team is volunteers, including Brian, right? Brian actually worked for Citibank, is it, Brian?
No, Bank of America.
Oh, Bank of America. So, you know, everyone has sort of a full-time job, but because we want to see many contents, right? Missional content, Christian content, gospel content out there, we are really playing catch up, right? I mean, there's so many other content. There are non-Christians that are, you know, influencing the world. We want a lot more of us, right, to be putting good, useful content out there. So all this is helping all of us, right, play catch up and get there. So we are keen to help, right? People have their own recording studio at home, or you can come to 360, right? Of course, it's not for commercial purpose, right? I mean, our studio is meant to be missional. Though we are open for some startups whose founders are missional to use our studio, but majority of it would be Christian content that we hope to create at our DM studio. And those two guys, friends, and what's friend? What's that? Clifford, is it? Besides you.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, you all can try to create also a studio in Iloilo, right? So that you know, we can do stuff in Filipino, you know, for Philippines. That would be great, and we can help you all. Okay. So if not, then I think this concludes the session. Brian, you want to close us in prayer?
Okay. Let's pray. Our Father in heaven, we thank you, Lord, for this opportunity you've given us, Lord, today to be able to gather, Lord, to be able to share. We thank you, Lord, for the presence, Lord, of everyone here. And we hope, Lord, that any information, any knowledge that we have imparted, Lord, will be used, Lord, to expand your kingdom, Lord. All this, Lord, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Bye.
night.
Bye.